I introduced with uh, yesterday. I had discussed with you the four phases that turned the language system of India, and how in English came and how it got absorbed in India. Okay, and yesterday I have also told you to go through your material so that you will be well versed with whatever had happened, and I had asked you to go a little ahead also so that you'll be able to catch it properly today. So I hope you have come prepared for the class. Now, students, yesterday you saw that you were able to catch whatever I was telling you, and also you were able to find it in your material. Today, I don't think that will happen much, because today I'm going to explain a little bit in a jingled way, so that I'm able to make you understand everything. Number one. Number two, we finish our target syllabus as soon as possible within this 2 hours. So today, there's no need for you to see the material and sit and underline and write. No need. Will be a bit fast. You won't be able to find. But I will be very much confined to your material. Today you need to sit maybe with a pen and paper, and some points you need to jot down so that you remember that they are important, and you add it in your assessments, those points. So let us start today with where we had stopped yesterday. Now, learners, yesterday I already told you how English came and how it developed, how it absorbed, and how we people accepted it. Okay. And then also I had told you the contributions of Macaulay, and a little bit we have discussed about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. As a revolutionary, Raja Ram Mohan Roy as a philosopher, and how he was really very much concerned about the nation's overall development, that we saw. So today again we'll go a little bit on that, and then we'll move ahead to different writers of English in India. Now, as I said yesterday, I'll repeat a bit about Macaulay, and then Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and a little bit about Charles Trevelyan, again one of those influences, influencing characters that molded and shaped the language system in India to some extent. But here you will see mainly we have Macaulay and Raja Ram Mohan Roy as the two eminent figures. Okay, now uh, certain things I'll tell you about Macaulay and his education plan of written in his minutes of 1832. Now, students, this was the new education policy. Now, you must have seen that recently we got a new education policy, NEP 2020. Prior to this, we had, I think, three or four more education policies, and accordingly, our education system was molded and shaped. But yesterday we saw a lot about the negative side of Macaulay's one-sided plan, which was very much British. Okay, and many people, especially the post-colonial critics, they did not appreciate totally what was implemented by Macaulay. They criticized it, and because of these criticisms, you can see that gradually our education system has been molded and shaped. So you can say we cannot discard Macaulay completely, because he was the one who brought a proper method of education. Okay, prior to that, we did not have any method, we were not systematic. But he was the one who showed us that we need to be systematic when we are perceiving education, or when we are trying to make out some policies. We have to be very systematic. This is what we learn. So apart from many negative points, we can see certain positives of Macaulay. But you can see on the other side, you can see that Macaulay was completely trying to promote European literature. He was trying to promote European sciences among us, isn't it? And then He mainly, apart from the educational motives, they had certain other, we can call it religio-political motives also, because they put Indian language system, Indian knowledge system at the back. Who? Macaulay. Macaulay promoted more European culture, more European literature, European language, European science. Okay, so in that way, actually, and if you read his minutes, you will find him writing that Indians are actually barbarians. Okay, and he called Hindus, actually, he attacked Hindus a lot at that time. They are barbarians, and they need to be, they need to be organized, and they need to be well behaved. And we British people, so it is our responsibility. We have come here, so we are going to teach them how to be civilized and how to live that barbarian culture. Okay. So Macaulay directly he called Indian culture, Indian lifestyle as barbarian. All right. And so this you can say is biased, and this was very much criticized by the critics, by the revolutionary after independence. Okay, it was one-sided, and those sort of criticism came from Macaulay, but still, if you see English as one of the eminent languages, then despite so much of criticism, what do we find? That today English studies is given so much of scope. Okay, I will go a little systematic, otherwise I'll mess up everything. I'll go to this later also, that we are criticizing English. We are saying that no, even our government is doing so much to bring regional languages to the forefront. But if you see, this is a bleak reality, dear students, that if you compare the regional language schools who are teaching in regional languages as a medium of teaching, and if you see English medium schools, you see that there is a little proper problem of funding also in these schools. Government is not able actually to provide so much of funding and substantial teachers in these regional language schools, and that is why those schools are lagging behind. On the other hand, if you see these English medium schools, they are usually privatized, so they have more, they extract more fees from from the parents, and you can see that they are blooming more. Okay, so again, you see that there is a class imbalance. Those who are able to pay for their kids, they leave their kids to English schools. Those who are not able to pay, they go to these regional schools. And again, you can see a proper imbalance in our social system. Okay, and this is the bleak reality also. Yesterday I was telling you, if you speak in English today means you are elite. Now this goes little bit against our profession also, because we people teach English. Maybe if we are talking on all these things, so maybe this is a little bit problematic. If you talk about our profession, because we teach exclusively English, but this is the fact. We cannot deny that fact, that till today English is considered is a monopoly of an elite class, uh, of a high class Indian. So today, till today, if you speak English, fluent English, then you are considered as an elite. People look up to you. Whereas if you speak a regional language, no one looks at your face. So that kind of what you call post-colonial hangover is still there. On sorry, not post-colonial, colonial hangover is still there within us. Okay, so their impression is still there upon us. We still feel that, as far as languages are concerned. um, all right, so this is the fact, but still we cannot deny also, on the other hand, that government is doing a lot. You do not know, maybe many policies are coming up, many educational reforms are also coming in order to encourage our regional languages. Okay, but sometimes we cannot blame government every time. Our nation is so huge. Okay, its length and breadth is so vast that government, is not able to provide to each and every school, regional school, with proper facilities. Our country is so huge. So these are some of the problems that is coming up in our education as far as language systems are concerned. But still, that doesn't mean that government is sitting ignorant of all this. It is doing, it is implementing policies, use your language. Time and again we see that everybody everywhere, government policies are coming one after another to improve it, and we as teachers, we are also doing. So despite the fact that we teach English, we people, we teachers of Odisha also, we try to promote the
Ma'am, ma'am,
languages.
just a minute. This is
Sorry.
Dr. Paningre from IGNOU Bhubaneswar.
Good evening, sir.
There is an announcement of the students. Students, your 8th and ninth class was not held because of different reasons. So you are organizing your class on 13th and 14th, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Same link. It's okay, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Saturday, Sunday, 6 to 8, your first and second class is going to held. Okay? So tomorrow and day after tomorrow you will join and same time. So ma'am will take your class. Thank you, ma'am. You can continue.
Thank you so much, sir. I can hear some noise. I think some learner has unmuted his mobile or whatever system. Kindly mute yourselves so that I'll be clear when you listen to me. Now, students, we'll move ahead, and we will see another, another educationist who also try to amend things for us, who try to develop things for us, who try to bring out a system for us. Okay, now if we move ahead, you see that another educationist called Trevelyan, he also tried to make some implementations for us, and he was also actually zealous. He was enthusiastic to do something. Okay. So he also did things so that our communities could improve, and our social practices should get developed. And he also hand in hand did a lot. But again we can see that their imperial thoughts, their British thoughts were not able to they were not able to keep it behind. And as a result, these British educationists, this British what you call revolutionalists, they uh, they were criticized to some extent. And if you see, if you go to Raja Ram Mohan Roy, um, uh, you know, actually his intentions were right. But also, people sometimes, many people misunderstood Ram Mohan Roy's point of view, his critique on the education system. People were not able to grasp that actually Ram Mohan Roy meant good. This means what? And you have this in your course also, that he wrote a letter to Lord Amherst. And actually, as I told you yesterday also, that Ram Mohan Roy was he was also very critical about our rituals, our our old traditional practices like sati and child marriages. And I think in your in your schools or in your early colleges also, you would have read that he tried to stop all these practices, and he really wanted India to get modernized. All right. So, so this was actually his intention, that we should discard all old rituals, all old things, traditions that we were following. As I told you yesterday, that actually we were very feudal and we were very caste-minded people. Okay. So Ram Mohan Roy appreciated Macaulay's minutes. Okay. And his appreciation did not mean that he said that we Indians are barbarians, or we are uncultured, or our religion should be put behind and Christianity should be promoted. He did not mean that. Okay, he was very much optimistic about what Macaulay had planned. Okay, means through this Western education, we could learn how to look at things, how to look at modernity, okay, and how to not become superstitious and traditional minded. So he wanted all the Indians to come out from those traditions and ritualistic practices. He wanted all the Indians to see things in a very new and modern light, and for that he appreciated Macaulay. But sometimes many critics were not able to understand his good intention. He was attacked of being anti Hindu. He was who was favoring very much those Christian aspects, but that is not the fact. He was actually very much appreciative about the British learning system, okay, which looks ahead, which is very liberal, which sees things away from inequality. That kind of education he wanted Indians to have. Okay, so as I told you yesterday, also, he was a thinker, he was a philosopher, and he meant always good. So, in this way, Ram Mohan should be read and understood properly, because he was one of the initiators of Indian modern thoughts. He wanted Indians to come up from all those old practices. Okay, so in this way, that letter, Raja Ram Mohan Roy's letter, is most significant document, okay, in our educational history. And it although it talks about that Western learning is superior to our Indian learning system, because we were not so much organized, whereas Ram Mohan Roy saw a proper form, proper organization of the whole education system. That is why he praised the system. Okay, but in a way you can see that his praise, actually, many other people took it um, as uh, as a sign of sophistication, if you become a little bit European oriented. So many misconceptions came, but what he wanted to say is, through this English European learning, we can shed all those age old beliefs and practices and superstitions. This is what was his overall intention. Okay, but sometimes we also agree that Ram Mohan Roy was very much anglicized. He was very much fond of that British Western system. And when revolution for independence came, people were not able to get Ram Mohan Roy's point of view. Okay, so uh, So yes, in that way, you can see Raja Ram Mohan Roy, but you need to see it from a clear light. What his intentions were, because you cannot totally discard the fact that really Western learning is little oriented. It is properly set up, it is organized. So that was what he was saying, that if you read, if you study in that kind of setup, obviously you will have a modern point of view. So he tried to say that modernity is not always British. Modernity can come from the Indian point of view also. But at that time, these thoughts were very much misunderstood by people. But now we can understand it clearly after so many years of independence. And also we can see that we won't be able to discard English completely. Okay, despite the fact that we go on saying that we should improve our regional languages, but we cannot discard English, because nowadays it has become a global language. So we all understand English more than any language in the world. Okay, and this is because of the British imperial rule. Okay, they ruled so many countries
Ma'am,
that
I have read that it is the white man's burden to
white
protect,
men, yes,
yeah, to protect, I mean,
yes, They said
Yes,
that it
ma'am.
is because we are civilized, and the whole other world, especially African, Indian, they are barbarians. You read this Macaulay's minutes also, or maybe you find a summary of that. You read that there also he is directly saying that Indians are barbarians and they need to be civilized. So we will take this initiative and we will try to civilize them. So not only did they try to civilize people with so-called civilization, we were civilized actually. Learners, we have got very, as we were discussing yesterday, we have got very ancient culture, very ancient learning. Okay, but we all should agree that we did not have this kind of system that English people have. We learned it from them, no doubt. Okay, but that didn't mean that we were barbarians or we were cutting each other. No, we were man eaters or something like that. We were not that. Okay, and then another motive, the intention was for them was, you know, uh, in the name of change of our civilization, they were saying that if you um, learn the word of God that comes through Bible, then you become civilized and cultured. So in that way, spread of Christianity also took place during that time. That if you want to become civilized, then you can follow Christianity. So this was also promoted at that time, and this is how in India we got the spread of Christianity. Okay, now I discussed a bit about this uh, uh, travel. I'm not able to pronounce this English name. Trevelyan. Okay, Trevelyan. Um, and he also spoke. He was also one of those revolutionaries for India, and like Macaulay. Okay, and he was also one of those initiators who wanted there should be some sort of learning of English in India, just like Macaulay. Okay, and he had a firm belief that there should be few foundations in India so that proper English learning system could happen. Okay, uh, and he also said, remember students, he also said that India is also in a state of moral and intellectual decay. He said that India is in a state of moral and intellectual decay, and through our education system, we will try to develop them. So he was also in completely crucial colonialist point of view he had. Okay, and he was very positive about the teaching of English language and literature in India. He said that if in India English language and literature studies is imposed, then it will, it will try to civilize Indians. It will, they Indians have false beliefs. Indians have false religions. Okay, they do immoral behavior. Now, I'm not saying it from my own thing. It is there, it is there. If you take up this Trevelyan and his letters, you will find him talking Indians as barbarians, as following false religion. He says that India is completely drowned in false beliefs. So, study of English language and literature will rejuvenate Indian education. Okay, and in that way, Indian will become properly civilized also. So, under this guise of bringing development, they exploited us. They exploited our, our identity. They exploited our thoughts, because our, our body of literature, our system of belief, our spirituality was something very different. Okay, which these people were not able to understand. How were Indians before British rule? Mostly people, what they did. India was a very favorable country for agriculture. Okay, so it is very easy for us to grow crops, and our climate at that time was very. Now it is getting very hot because of global warming and all those things. But in those days, our temperature was very moderate. We had a very comfortable living during ancient days. So what we did, after we got a good output of crop, okay, when our stomach were filled, we did not run for more and more and more. No, we were satisfied, we were content with our outputs, and most of the Indians prefer to meditate. Most of the Indians, they love to connect themselves with godly and spiritual power. Okay, so many people, many men and women both, you will find in literature also, in history also, in philosophy also, that Indian people were mostly spiritual people. Okay, so after the stomach was filled, like British, they did not run for more and more and more, captivating others, torturing others. No, most of them preferred meditating, praying, connecting themselves to spirituality and God. So this kind of religious system was not understood by them, or maybe in a way to systematize us, they exploited us. They exploited our thoughts. They exploited our spirituality, which was never understood maybe by them. Okay, so this was the condition, and Indian people were always very patient with everything. They were very tolerant about everything, but their patience, their tolerance was misunderstood to be false beliefs, false thoughts, immoral behavior. This is what these Western people had written about us during those time, in the name of bringing new education policies. Okay, even Trevelyan had the same idea. So, if you see the views of Macaulay and Trevelyan, they both played a very significant role in the growth of political interference of British in India. Okay, initially they were doing business, but this people like Macaulay and Trevelyan, they brought, they opened the eyes that British now should take part, should intervene in the political system of Indian culture. Okay, and they, in this way, they try to promote English literature, they try to promote English language. Okay, so in order, as a symbol of capturing the country, the subcontinent more. Okay, so when they try to capture us, when they try to suppress us, then what you find, that Indians got little dissatisfaction. Okay, and gradually, with time, within this 100 years that we were doing yesterday, within that century, gradually you see a kind of rebellion starting. Okay, so this kind of disaffection, dislike, it created the rebellion. Okay, and that is where the rebellion happened. And when the rebellion happened, when the people started retaliating, what they called, they said Indians are barbarian. Okay, when Indians were silent, they were exploiting. They were exploiting. So gradually, when dissatisfaction grew, what they called us, barbarians. See, they have nothing, they have no culture. See how they are killing. So they were tagged as, we were all tagged as barbarians. Okay, now we'll
Ma'am,
move
I have
over.
read that. Ma'am, I have read that they said that it is the white man's burden to protect
Uh-huh.
brown women from brown men.
Yes, yes. There were many, many things they said. Okay, not only that, now you are coming to this gender aspect, but commonly they said that this is white man's burden to civilize us, to civilize Indian mainly. Men and women, now that is going little specific, little narrow, but broadly they said that we people are barbarians, we are uncivilized, we don't have proper religious system, we don't have proper education system, so we have nothing. As Macaulay also said, no, that our whole what was that? Sanskrit and Arabic literature is not worth their one shelf of a library. So they were too prejudiced. And in the name of white man's burden, brown people were tortured. They were suppressed. Okay. Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So promise, you kept your promise. You have studied. So it's a good name for everyone to keep it as promise so that you study. Okay, we will move ahead little bit. I'll go to other education policies. Okay, uh, just wait, because they are important for you to understand this whole system of learning. Just hold on. Okay, yes. So now this was Macaulay's minutes. This was an education policy. Now next is comes Radhakrishnan Commission. Okay, now this commission took place in 1948 to 49. Okay, now here this is also very important because 48 49 means just after independence we had our own education policy, and that is why it is very important what was there in that particular education policy named as Radhakrishnan Commission. Okay, so now this time our Indian Constitution was forming. Okay, and especially like what Raja Ram Mohan Roy has said, that thing had happened. Our Constitution was forming with the point of view of modern world. Okay, so you will see that this particular commission, this is also talking about the same idea of modernization, and here we started with the role of universities in our society. Okay, so according to this Radha Krishnan Commission, he said that university will be the home of intellectual adventure. Okay, universities will be the homes of intellectual adventure. So maybe by intellectual adventure he means research. Now it's very easy to call it research. So intellectual adventure to some extent means research. We'll be researching. We'll be trying to think. Okay, what it means to be an Indian in terms of justice, in terms of liberty, in terms of fraternity. Okay, and he said, and the commission said mainly it said that what could be done in order to promote equality and justice in our nation. So it had a very good what do you call a good thought in this particular education system. Okay, and about the position of English language. Okay, so they said that yes, English language should be accepted. Okay, as a medium of instruction, but it will be better if English as a medium of instruction could be replaced by Indian languages. So immediately after independence, we now thought about introducing our languages in universities instead of English. See, we are studying English, so English honors, so we need to talk in English or interact in English, so that your thinking in English, the capacity to think in English will improve. Okay, but it's not necessary that other subjects will do in English. They can explain, they can understand, even they can write in vernaculars. Okay, that is allowed. All right. So, like if you have political science, economics, they are allowed to write in our regional languages. So from then they said that Radhakrishnan Commission said that you can introduce your Indian languages in your universities. Okay. So this was a kind of revivalism in our education policy. All right. So it said that that's something. Now things should be done, initiatives should be made so that we can have our own languages. All right. So Radhakrishnan Commission was mainly guided by language policy. Okay, language policy was very important. Okay, you can say that it was a little bit anti-colonial in sentiment because they did not accept English anymore as the dominant position in our learning system. They discarded. From that time it was discarded. Okay, but they could not do much, and still English dominated because other Indian national languages were little bit unable to, to be at par with English language. Can you understand, or should I repeat? This is important. This part only. I'm telling you once again.
Say again, ma'am, please.
Yes. See, uh, Radhakrishnan Commission, they said that our language should be introduced. Okay, but that was not feasible. That did not succeed to a large extent. That regional languages were rampantly used in universities, that were not happening. It did not become possible. Okay, though the commission talked about regional languages or native languages should be taught, should be, propagated as a medium of teaching in universities, but that was not much fruitful. Why? Because at that time our regional languages or our national languages, they did not come to the level of English. As far as study was concerned, education was concerned, our languages did not give us much scope to study, because things were given to us in English and we were following their system. We did not have our system. Suppose I am a poet, I will write poetry. Okay. You are in a habit of thinking something, you write some philosophies, but that was not systematic in the Indian context. But we have to follow that British thing, because they had proper books for all different subjects. Now you understand. We did not have that. Our language was not that improved so that it could be inculcated in different universities. We were still lagging behind. So, uh, despite the fact that we did not like this, but English continued to be the dominant medium during Radhakrishnan Commission. It did not fructify much. See, till today also we are struggling. Till today, government in NEP 2020 is talking about regional languages, dialects that should be improved. Things, lot of planning should be done in order to bring those languages to the forefront. But still, we are struggling. Now, could you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the next came Kothari Commission. After Radhakrishnan Commission came Kothari Commission. We have heard this name a lot. Okay. Kothari Commission. It was in 1664-66. We were still not born during those time, but we have heard a lot about that. And you see that at this time, Hindi was said that this should become the national language. Okay, Hindi should become our national language. And Nehru was also, he belonged to northern India, so he also emphasized Hindi as the national language much more. Okay, so he said that okay, English should be rejected, but Hindi should come. But if these North Indians they talk about Hindi, then South Indians do not speak in Hindi. It is the monopoly of North Indians. Till today we have the same dispute. Okay, so South Indian became unhappy that if you introduce Hindi as the national language, we don't accept Hindi because we don't speak Hindi. That's an Aryan language, so called Aryan language. We don't speak that. So that cannot become our language. So people in South India they became they were unhappy with this. Okay, and they said that equality should be maintained. And with this Hindi language, there is no equality because North Indians speak that, we do not speak that. Okay, so again there was disturbance. We have so many languages. We have so many Aryan languages. We have so many Dravidian languages. What to be done now? Okay, so here three language formula was formed during Kothari Commission. Okay, so your mother language will remain in Kothari Commission. This was decided that your mother language will remain your regional language. Suppose I live in Orissa, so my mother tongue is Odia. You live in Delhi, so your mother tongue is maybe Urdu or Hindi. Okay, so southern people they have Kannada, Malayali, and different languages, regional languages of the state. That was the mother tongue. Number one. Number two, official language became Hindi, and the associate official language. There were two. One was official language, was Hindi. Another was associate official language, that was English. And the third was modern Indian and foreign language, that was obviously English, modern Indian language. Okay, so this was the three language formula that took place in, that was decided in Kothari Commission. Okay, so they couldn't fix anything. If you say we will keep English as official language, then again people will be disturbed because that is not our language. That is language of other country, some other country. If we say let's keep Hindi, then as most of the people speak in Hindi, Again, that was objected. South Indians said that we will not speak Hindi. Why should we speak Hindi? It is not our language. Okay, so in this way, things were bit confused again. So it was said that mother tongue will remain your language. Official language you can say either Hindi or English. Okay, and again English will remain as one of the languages because they were not able to discard it completely. Okay, so this was what was Kotari Commission. Now you can see that this is the second commission. Again, we are failing. We are not able to fix anything. Okay, we are not able to decide anything which language because this is very complicated. Okay, so these were the education policies, and now if you presently see NEP, then again you see government promoting, talking a lot about regional languages. But you can see now the government is more active now to do things to bring changes in language system. All right. Now then again different other commissions came, but still you can see that the whole body of our of our education system still remains dominant. So it was decided at that time that okay, during Kothari commission also it was said that okay, let us continue this English as a mode of learning until our own regional languages come to that mark. If our language, Indian languages, come to that mark, then we will switch over. But now we cannot do anything because English still remains a major language because many changes, many developments are coming from the Western counterpart and we need to know them. So let us keep English as the major kind of learning. Okay, and this is how the whole system was divided, and you see that how English as the medium of teaching bloomed. Okay, and these private teaching centers, they take money, but they have developed a kind of systematized learning system. So in a way we can never reject completely. Once English has entered, we are not able to we are not able to overcome with this dominance of English. Okay, and now in 21st century, you see that it has become a global language. It is not only we are using it, but all over the world, people are using that language to express their ideas, their intellectuality, so that people worldwide could read it. So mainly students, you do not think that this is the most superior languages, but the reason is that at one point of time there was British rule in many parts of the world. Okay, so that is why English became very much uh, practiced by the people globally. Okay, now we will move on and we will see certain Indian writers in English, very initial writers in English. Okay, so just wait, just hold on. Yes. So we will see the early writings in English. Yesterday, I already told you that Ram Mohan's Wife was the first novel written in English by an Indian. Okay, but you can see that Raja Ram Mohan Roy, if you see, he also wrote initially. He was releasing pamphlets. He was releasing, letters in English, but he also gradually moved over to his own language, to Bengali. Okay. So through his mainly he had written many letters, okay, letters to different government officials, and you can say that Raja Ram Mohan Rai was one of the eminent promoter of Indian English through letters. Okay, so he wrote letters in English, and these letters became a part of literature. Okay, and he was actually influenced. He was impressed by their systematic lifestyle and their culture. And when he looked at Indians, he saw that we were little behind. We were traditional. We were trapped in many rituals. Okay, in many kinds of superstitions. So. Uh, he was the one who initiated with the Indian English writings. Okay. Now, moving on, we will see that there were many other initiators or early writers of English. Uh, you will see that you have in your text Henry Louis Vivian de Rosio. He was a Eurasian. Eurasian means he was partly Indian and partly British. Okay, so but you can, if you see Henry Louis Vivian de Rosio, um, though he had a very mixed, he was a product of a mixed culture, of a mixed nationality, but de Rosio considered more himself as an Indian. Okay, and you can see mainly he was a poet. He wrote beautiful poems. I had read in my school days also. What was that? To India, my native land. Okay, so he calls India as his native land. Okay, he was a Eurasian, but he considered India as a native land. So Derozio was a lecturer in Hindi college. Okay, sorry, Hindu college, Calcutta. Okay, and he found himself rooted to India, and he was a beautiful poet. And through his poetry, he had influenced many other Indian English authors. Remember, Derozio was one of the initiators. Okay, and his biography is also there, and bit of that biography you will find in your material also. So, how you will find how it talks about his literary legacy. Okay, whatever he wrote, what was his basic perspective, and you will find how he was very much rooted, very much sensitive towards India. Okay, uh, and as he was a Eurasian, so he preferred his mode of writing mainly in English. Okay, though he wrote English, but he was not that English minded. Okay, he was quite Indian. His thoughts were quite Indian. Okay, I'll talk about a few of his poems. In his poem, you will find that he had a lot of nationalistic fervor, and he was also aware of the condition that India was going through. And this, as I was telling to India, my native land. This is a sonnet, okay, and it talks about the glorious past of India. And he says that what colonization has brought to India, what kind of destruction India is suffering. And he said that once, see, he is saying everything opposite to what those imperialists thought. Okay, they thought India to be barbarians, but he said that my country was worshipped like a deity. My country was worshipped like a goddess. Okay, and he is sad that that beauty is lost. See, just the opposite. He's saying that the beauty that was there due to colonial rule, all that beauty, that reverence, that glory is lost, and our country has become a fallen state. Okay, see, he's so directly attacking the British. Okay, so he has another poetry he has written, The Harp of India, harp, HARP. Harp is a musical instrument. Here also he talks a lot about the misery that India is facing, the kind of glorious past it had, and now what it is suffering. He again and again through his poem is talking about his lamentation actually. about the loss of beauty that India once had. Okay, when others called India to be barbarians, he was the one who said that no, our country was just like a goddess who was prayed to. Um, uh, we bowed down before our country. It was so glorious, but now it is completely captured and completely under the rules, under the chains of British imperial power. So he wrote many other poems also, Ode to Independence. Then he wrote a long poem called The Fakir of Jangira. Okay, so there's no need for you to search for anything, just sit and listen. After the class, you can read the material, you will find everything. So he wrote a long poem here, The Fakir of Jangira. Okay, so here, um, he talks about a tragic life of a character called Nuleni. Okay, Nuleni, Nuleeni, Nuleni. He projects a tragic character in the Fakir of Jangira. And this Nuleni is a high caste Hindu widow. She's a lady belonging to high caste, but she's a widow. Okay, and I think you know that when that there was sati practice was very rampant during those days. So when she was, on her funeral pyre, she was rescued. When she was about to get burnt in the sati pratha, she was about to be burned, but one young bandit, young what you call bandit, thief. Okay, he fell in love with her beauty, and he rescued her. Okay, and she also reciprocates the love of that bandit. Okay, so this is the whole background of the long poem, The Fakir of Jangira. And here also you see through this poem he's trying to bring some reformation. He talks about the widow who is about to get burnt alive. Okay, like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he is also criticizing the Indian cultural practice of sati. Okay, and then he said that he was taken away by this bandit, and this lady also reciprocates her love to that bandit. Okay, but again, in the poem, it's written that again this lady has to face the fury of the society, because society could not um, could not savor this kind of attitude from the woman. So this was again a kind of social awareness by Derozio through the poem. Then he had many other poems also. The Song of the Hindustani Minstrel, and he had a good long poetic career. But mainly his intention was to make people aware, number one, of the condition that India was facing, but also at the same time he points out about the practices, the dark practices like this, like sati pratha, that should be stopped. This was a kind of awareness that he created through his poems. Okay, so now you see that Henry Derozio, he is one of the most renowned initiators of Indian English writings after Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, and you can consider Derozio as one of the first Indian English poets. Okay, Raja Ram Mohan Roy was not a poet, but Derozio was a poet. So through his poetry, he initiated the English in India. Okay, and he came from a mixed race. His father was mixed Portuguese and Indian, and his mother was English. Okay, just see his mixed identity. Three identities he had, of Portuguese, Indian, and English. His father was a mixed race of Portuguese and India, and his mother was English. Okay, and Derozio was born out of an educated family. He was also based in Calcutta. Okay, and he actually, Derozio writes for the Indians because he finds himself more connected to Indians than to Portuguese or British. Okay, he found himself more connected to Indians. Okay, so though you can see that he might be, to some extent, he might be having some identity crisis because he was neither full Portuguese nor English. Okay, so when he was in India, he lived in India most of his time, so he connected himself to the nation. Okay, so This is about Derozio. Now
And
next,
he organized debates, and he died at very early age.
yes, he died early. But I think he died in 21, right? 21 or
Yes,
25,
ma'am.
like that he died. But
Yes, ma'am.
he had a good, substantial poetic career. He wrote beautiful poems with beautiful themes. Okay, and maybe you can say that just because he was Eurasian, okay, apart from Raja Rammohan Roy was Indian, but he was Eurasian. So, he could see the condition of India in a better way. Okay. So he talked about the glorious past
Divengre
of
ଗୋଟେ
India
ଶବ୍ଦର କେଉଁଠି
a-
ମୋର
and
କଥା
also
ଜଣଙ୍କର
at the
ପୁରା
same
ଇଏ
time,
ହେଇଯାଇଛି
hey,
ହେଲା
mute
ଏଠି
yourself.
ଦେଖ
Please.
ସୋମବାର ଦିନ
Naren,
3/5
kindly mute
ଏକ
yourself.
1,63,64,000 ମଙ୍ଗଳବାର
Narendra,
3/5 86,92,945 ଏମିତି
Narendra,
ବିଭିନ୍ନ
are you
କାରଣରେ
there?
କେତେ ଟଙ୍କା ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କରେ ଜମା ହେଇଛି ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ହେଲା
Narendra sir,
ତାପରେ
please mute
ପଚାରିଛି
yourself.
କେଉଁ ଦିନ କେତେ ଟଙ୍କା ଜମା ହେଇଥିଲା ଅକ୍ଷର ଲେଖ ଦେଖିବ
Narendra sir, please mute yourself.
Kindly mute yourself, Narendra. Okay. Where was I? So as I was telling you that he's a Eurasian. We call this people Eurasian. Okay. Uh, Okay. So you call them Eurasian because they are not completely Indian. Okay. And mostly Eurasia means the mixture of Europe and Asia. Okay. Somebody wrote Europe, American, no, Eurasian, Europe and Asia, not America. Europe and Asia. Okay. I can see that you people are typing things in your message. If you do such thing that you won't be able to concentrate here. Long, long paragraphs you are writing. So you may hold these discussions later, but now you need to listen. So Eurasian means partially Indian and Asian, sorry, not Indian, partially Asian and partially European. So that is Eurasia, Eurasians. So what I was telling you that maybe he was a Eurasian. So he was able to see India from a bird's eye view. Okay. He first of all he saw the glorious past of India because he was accustomed. He knew. Okay. Whereas British, this Macaulay, how much did he live in India? Okay, maybe for a few months or 1 or 2 years he might have lived in India, but he had formed one system for us. Whereas if you see Derozio, he knew India quite better than Macaulay. Okay, so Derozio is impartial. Impartially, he says that yes, we had a glorious past into India, my native land. But here in this poem, this long poem, okay, the fakir in this poem, see, he's attacking the Indian orthodox system. Okay, so that doesn't mean that he's negative like Macaulay, but he's trying to create awareness through his poems that Sati Pratha kind of evil should be stopped. So we cannot deny the thing that the things like Sati Pratha or child marriage, these were the evils of our society. We cannot deny. But people like Rajaram Mohan Roy and Derozio, they created awareness. They did not attack. They created awareness. Okay, and they want revolution in our country. We should have modern thinking. Okay, for which our British education system can help us. That is what was their point of view. Okay, you got it, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now we'll move on to Michael
Yes, ma'am.
Madhusudan Dutt. Okay, very nice. Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Okay. Now through Michael Madhusudan Dutt, we see that now we are moving to real modernity. Okay. Now Michael Madhusudan Dutt also uh, had his root from Hindu College, Calcutta. But unlike Derozio, Michael was not, uh, not a teacher, not a lecturer, but he was an alumni. He was a student of Hindu College, and you cannot say that direct contact he had with Derozio. No, Derozio left, and after that, as one of our students rightly pointed out, he died young. So when he left, Michael Madhusudan got enrolled in this college. Okay, so he might have got good substantial influence, but they had no direct contact, as much as I know, as much as I have read. Okay, and through the name you can see that he had um, converted to Christianity because he added Michael to his name, and he converted to
And he was
Christianity
a
from
Bengali writer. Bengali writer.
Bengali. Yes, a Bengali writer. Yes, he was. And also, you must know. I'm going to that also. That initially he wrote in English. Okay, but as I was telling yesterday that many poets, many writers, they switched over to their regional languages as a form of protest. Do you remember that? So Michael Madhusudan that was one of those literary figures, okay, who rejected English eventually, and he switched over to his regional language. That's what you pointed out, Bengali. Okay, so later he started writing in his own language. He switched over to Bengali, to his native tongue. Okay, so you can call that as one of the greatest poets. Okay, uh, and you can say that after Tagore, um, in Bengal, Dutt is revered as one of the greatest poet. Okay, and he was the one who introduced new forms, new rhyme schemes, and new techniques of poetry writing in India. Okay, so he was the one who introduced blank verse in Bengali poetry. He was the one who introduced sonnet forms in Bengali poetry. Okay, and he was the one who brought modern comedy and tragedy, and he was the one who wrote the first epic in Bengali. Okay, see, he had a great contribution. He brought blank verse, he brought sonnet, he brought modern comedy and tragedy, and he was the one who wrote first in epic in Bengali. Okay, you have to remember this. So you can undoubtedly say that he had got a lot of influence from British writings, no doubt. Okay, maybe if we start our creative writing today, then some amount of Western literature will have a good influence on our writing, no doubt. So at that time, when British impact was high, so that kind of influence was also high of Indian writers. But these were the people who slowly brought an Indian flavor in their writings, through their writings. Okay, that flavor was gradually gaining in our Indian themes, in our Indian writing systems. Okay, so Madhusudan Dutt, he got his education same in Calcutta's Hindu College, and then later he went to Bishop's College. So Bishop College is more English ways and methods were there. Okay, so you can see that he had a good grasp over English. Okay, and then when he became aware of the revolt and revolution that was going on, he switched over from English to his own Bengali writing. Okay, he felt more connected to his Bengali roots. Okay, so Madhu, at that time, you see that many English people were also writing in India. English people, okay, those people who had not absorbed, those who were typically English, British people, they were also writing in India. Maybe many of them were writing about Indian landscapes also, because at that time they had a big influence of Romantic period, as I was telling you yesterday. So Madhusudan Dutt also came in contact with these writers. Okay, and one of them were Captain Richardson. That was very much encouraged by Richardson to write in English. Okay, and with that, through Richardson's encouragement, he came into contact with many literary journals in India. Okay, written in English, and he started writing there, like the Bengal Spectator. He wrote in Literary Gleaner, Calcutta Literary Gazette, Literary Blossom, Comet. Okay, so he published there in those English journals based in India. Okay, but if you see initial writings, they were very much influenced by English models. Okay, initially. He was very impressed by those English writing style. So you can see that he had a great influence of those British poets. His early poems, when he was in Hindu college, he had written poem called Sonnet. It was very much influenced by British literature. Okay. Uh, Okay. Then later, when he became aware of his Hindu roots, of his Bengali roots, later in his life, so at least he wrote 10 works in Bengali. Okay. He wrote plays, he wrote poems, okay, in Bengali. So some of his poems and plays, I'm naming them. You will find them in your material also. So the one of the plays, Sharmishta, this is a play. He published it in 1859. Okay. And then in Bengali, he had written Ekei Ki Bale Sabhyata. This is a play published in 1860. Buro Shalikeer Ghare Round. This is a play published in 1860. Then Padmavati play published in 1860. Tilotama Sambhav Kavya. This is a poem published in 1860. See, from 60s he starts writing in Bengali. Then Meghnad Bad Kavya poem 1861. Brajan Ganja Kavya poem 1861, and so on and so forth. Okay. Uh, this is mainly I highlighted to you about Madhusudan Dutt's poetry writing and his initiatives in his contributions in the Bengali poetries. Okay, so you can see that he also turned over. He also switched over. This is the important thing that you must remember. He stopped writing in English and he started in Bengali. Okay, so here you see the life and the work of Madhusudan Dutt. Okay, he was also an alumni of Hindu College, Calcutta, and initially you saw he was very much impressed by English people, and you can see that maybe he was so influenced by that kind of European life that he changed the religion also. Okay, but this thing was little very temporary, because again when he matured he came back to his Indian roots. Okay, so then he switched over not only to Indian roots but also he switched over to his own language. Okay, so this was Michael Madhusudan Dutt. We'll move on to Toru Dutt next. Okay, so Toru Dutt is a lady. She's a woman, and we will read about her career, her writing style, and from which background she comes and how she develops. She's also mainly a poet. I think we were reading in our school days, Cashew in a Tree. If you have read, you must remember. Okay. Have you read Cashew in a Tree?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay.
Sita is there in our course. Sita.
Okay. But I remember it was a beautiful poem, Cashew in a Tree. Okay. You can find that. And that's a very innocent kind of writing when she talks about her attachment with a tree. Okay. Uh, I liked it. It was very simple, and it talks about how during our childhood days we become attached to certain things in nature. That was beautiful. Okay, so Turu Dutt, again another Bengali. You see, Bengali people had more influence because you can see that the old settlement, the earliest settlement was in Bengal of British. Okay, so
And Bengali people are more intellectuals.
yes, in a way you can say that actually they are very sensitive to learning. Mm. Uh, okay, we can have more on that. That will go endless. Anyway, so yes. So um, Toru that comes from the middle of 19th century. Okay, means 1850 and so on. From the middle of 19th century, she belongs to Bengali family of Dutt. Dutt family was very reputed family at that time, and she belongs to that family. She was very well connected with the, you know, with the topmost people of that time. Uh, and Dutt had a good face-to-face contact with the elite of the time through her family. Okay. Now she also comes from Hindu college, um, and she had a great influence also from many British professors like Professor David Lester Richardson, and her teacher was Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Okay. Um, okay, we'll go over to her literary work directly. So Toru Dutt, actually, she was the youngest child in her family. Okay, and now these people, they were also the early converts to Christianity. Okay, and the whole family of Toru Dutt was baptized in the Christ Church in Calcutta. Okay, so they also belong to the lot of converted people. Okay, uh, but as her father grew up, sorry, as her father, as though that was growing in her growing stage, her father decided to move from city to some urban place. Okay, uh, but her father was very much influenced by English culture, English education. I think most of the Indians were. They were very influenced, very impressed by the sophistication that English lifestyle and English um, language brought. So many elite Indians, as I was telling you, they were very much influenced, impressed by that. Okay. Now, Torudat also had a mixed culture. She had some French background also. Okay, uh, I'm telling you. Uh, yes, her family had a French background. All right, and so she was partially Indian and partially French. She had in her blood. Okay, and now we'll see a lot about her literary career. She worked, voluminously on translation from French to English. A book called A Sheaf Gleaned in French Fields. Okay, she had translated this from French to English. Okay, and this is the most well-known work of Torudat, her translation work, A Sheaf, Sheaf, gleaned in French fields. So this is her most prominent work. Okay, then she wrote poems also. She had a vast idea about French literature. She was a scholar in French literature, and she had got a lot of influence of French poems in her writing. But that doesn't mean that British English did not influence her. She had great influence from these romantics also. She was guided by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. She had good influence of John Keats, Charlotte Bronte, and of course Jane Austen. So she was a lady. She was more bent towards all these female writers, and these female writers had a great impact on her life. Okay. Now, apart from the sheaf in the sleep of the condor, this was actually written in French and that was translated by her. Okay. Then, apart from this, she had written a sonnet also. Uh, a mon pier. This is, I think, French. A means A, mon, MON, pier, PERE. This was her original composition. She has written a poem. Okay. Then she wrote many other poems in the journals also. The Hindu Patriot she has written. Then in Englishman journal she has written. Okay, in Indian Mirror, Madras Standard, she has written a lot in different journals and magazines. Okay, she had written in Bengal magazine also. Many different poetries. Now, her only English novel is, again, I think this is translated, Bianca or the Young Spanish Maiden. Bianca. Okay. Uh, this was her initial novel. Okay. and the other works also she has published, and many of them were published posthumously also. Posthumously means after her death. Okay, and she had written, and she died, and that was published later. Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan. She had written, and this was posthumously published after her death. Okay. So Toru Dutt, you can say she's the first Indian English writer to make extensive use of Indian, okay, and Hindu mythology also. Now, so I told you that she had a lot of French influence, but she was a vast reader of, Indian mythology also. So you can see in her writing, she had vast and extensive use of Indian and Hindu mythology. Okay, but her expressions were scattered everywhere in her poems, but that idea of mythology was always there in her. She had a great empathy towards Hindu mythology. Okay, so, despite the fact that she was a second generation Christian, but that didn't mean that she went away from Hindu culture, not that. She was very much well versed with Indian and Hindu culture. Okay. And in many poems, she had written, as you pointed out, somebody that you have read Savitri. So, that
Sita, Sita.
Sita. But there's another narrative poem called Savitri. Okay. And in this poem also, even what you pointed out, Sita, you will see that there is a tinge of Indian mythology, Hindu mythology that she replicates. So, despite the fact that she was influenced by French writers, she was influenced by English writers, but that Indian core was there in her heart. Okay, so that book called Ancient Ballads, I told you, in that you have Savitri, one poem in that volume. That volume name is Ancient Ballads. Under that, in that book, you will find a poem called Savitri, Sita, Jogadhya, Uma. All these poems you will find in that particular collection of poems. Okay. So you can say that Turu Dutt was also one of the earliest Indian English writers. Okay. But as she was a woman, so she had a bit of feminist consciousness. Okay. Uh, but in her early life, you do not feel so much of womanly thing. But later, when she developed herself as a writer, matured herself as a writer, you will find a lot of woman's point of view. Okay. And so she was actually, when she grew up as a writer, she flourished as a writer. She became very much concerned with the position and status of women in India. Okay, so she also had a very short life, and in a short span of life, she, through her poem, she wanted to create awareness against the condition of women in India. Okay, so she was a brilliant writer, and Toru Dutt, she was, she was, though she was protected from the Orthodox uh, family, Orthodox Hindu rule, she was protected, okay, because she belonged to the elite family. But she had face to face with all that womanly conditions in India. She was very sensitive towards that. Okay, and that made her little bit, not much, a little bit of feminist. Okay, so you will find in her work, Bianca, a lot of feminist uh, subjectivity is there. Okay, and in her novel, she shows a patriarchal constraint. Okay, and through the character of Bianca, you will see how male are dominating her. So that is what adds a little bit of feminist perspective to her writing. And this was mainly from the conditions of women of India at that time. Okay, so you saw the work of Toru Dutt, and she is the offspring of that celebrated Dutt family in Calcutta. Okay, they were distinguished family who were very much accomplished in English language. Okay, and then you say that uh, you can read Toru Dutt as one of the earliest of Indian English woman writers. Okay, and Toru Dutt has influence from three nations. Okay, first was her French education. Okay, then she had got lectures in Cambridge also in the UK. She had heard the lectures at Cambridge also, and also she had a vast reading of the study of Sanskrit literature. So you can see that three different influence she had that assimilated within her character, and uh, that added to the talent of a poem writing skill, to a poetic skill. Okay, so this all mixture of her influences, impacts, inspirations, she became one of the eminent earliest woman to write in English. Okay, so you can see that Torudat was a second generation Christian, but that doesn't mean that she did not have Indian influence, sorry, Hindu influence. She had a lot of that. Okay, so you can say that through her education, she was an English woman. Okay, like if you see her education, if you see education, she was as educated as any other English woman. Okay, she was a poet. Sorry, she was a kind of French at heart. Okay, because she had a vast reading of French literature, so she was a bit of French at heart. She was a poet in English. Okay, she wrote many prose in French also. Okay, and only at the age of 18 she had made a mark in writing poems in French. Okay, all right. So she had blended in herself three souls, three traditions. Okay, she died at the age of 21. Okay, when her talent was at her full bloom. See, 18, 19, 20, 21, only 4 years. She survived her poetic career. So, in these 4 years, you can see that her talent was spread everywhere, and in her review, the um, uh, Saturday Review, it published in 1879. Later, when Torudat died, they wrote, and they honored Torudat through the journal. They wrote that there is every reason to believe that in intellectual power, Torudat was one of the most remarkable women that ever lived. This review had published about her. Had George Eliot died at the age of 21, she would certainly not have left behind her any proof of application or originality superior to those bequeathed to us by Torudat. So, the review said that if George Eliot would have died at 21, no one would have remembered George Eliot. Whereas Torudat, only at such small age of 21, she has left her mark, and you can see that there can be no one equating to Torudat at that time. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Both Turjot and George Eliot died at the same age of 21.
No, no, no. They're saying that if George Eliot would have died in 21, then nobody would have remembered her.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but at such small age of 21, Torudat is remembered. Okay, we remember Torudat, despite the fact that she died at the age of 21. Understood?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any other thing? I think I have covered everything today. Do you need any more discussion?
No, ma'am.
But are you clear with whatever I explained?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
George Eliot died at the age of 61. Okay. So you got it. It is saying that if George Eliot would have died at the age of 21, nobody would have remembered George Eliot because her writing career was flourished in later part of her life. Okay. But Toru Dutt from such small age she started writing. Any other thing that you need to consult or ask or anything? Yes, anything you need to have more discussion on?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So yesterday I told you to go through that material. Have you gone through?
Ma'am, can you repeat it again?
I asked you to go through the material yesterday that you read and come so that it'll be easy for you to move ahead. Could you read? Could you find time? Acha, maybe not. So your silence says that you have not read much. Um,
Ma'am, can you repeat that? Who died at the age of 61?
George Eliot died at the age of 61.
Okay, that's
What's that? So in that review, actually, they have given a homage to Toru Dutt in that journal. They said that if George Eliot would have died just like Toru Dutt at the age of 21, then nobody would have known who is George Eliot because she did not produce much master work in such less age, whereas Toru Dutt did. Understood? Should I repeat again?
yes, ma'am, I got.
What?
Ma'am,
Yes.
according to this, George Eliot started his writing career at the very later time of his career. But
Master works came later. Yes, yes.
but Tordod at the age of 21, she already got famous by his
Yes.
writing.
Yes, now you got it. She wrote
Uh,
so many, see, such less age and talking so highly about Hindu mythology. Okay, even discussing Hindu mythology is very difficult. But in her poems, like you said, Sita, then Savitri, okay, she has shown that she has mastered over Hindu mythology. Okay, being a second generation Christian, just see, just feel that Indianness. That is no Hindu, that is no Christianity, but feel that Indianness. Okay, and she was sensitive as she was a woman, so she was more sensitive towards a condition of woman in India. Okay, so in that way, you can say that she is also like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, like Derozio. She is also pointing out at certain bleak aspects of Indian life which concerns women. That's what she's pointing out. Okay. Through her novel also she's pointing out at the condition of women. Okay. But see, so many things she has written until the age of 21. She started at 18 and she died in 21. In these 3-4 years, see the substance of it. That you need to feel. And you need to honor her for such beautiful poems in such less age, such mature work. Okay, and that too after being a woman, a female at that time. Though she belonged to an elite family, but still there would have been restrictions. Okay, so just see her mastery over the language. Okay, anything else, students, you need to discuss on? I think uh, you liked my class. You understood things well,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes, ma'am. Very nice.
Okay
yes,
then.
ma'am, we can clearly
Uh,
understand your every type of explanation. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, ma'am. This is Devadarshi. I
Mhm.
joined late, but I found
Okay.
your lecture so far interesting. If you could help me, may I know what you will be teaching tomorrow so that I can go through the material and have a
Yes, that will
idea?
be very helpful for me. Tomorrow, we will be going through the material three, right? Right, students? The
Yes, ma'am. See,
Yes,
third,
ma'am.
third
Yes,
unit.
Rajmohan.
ma'am.
I think tomorrow is going to be a little more interesting because we will be talking about Bankim Chandra's works. Okay, in your next unit, Bankim Chandra and his view, his bit of biography will be doing. Okay, and the social conditions of his time. Then after that, you again Bankim Chandra's Rajmohan's wife we will be doing, and I'll be giving you a short summary of Rajmohan's wife, because if you understand that short summary, you'll be able to understand not only the socio-cultural norms of that time, but also you will see a little bit of feminism is also there in Bankim Chandra's work that you will see. So tomorrow mainly we will be dealing with Rajmohan's wife and Bankim Chandra in a very broad manner.
sure, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
different aspects, and also I'll analyze for you Rajmohan's wife, and that is I think I have already discussed. That is the first novel in India written in English. But later, as I told you, you must remember Bankim Chandra, he did not write any more in English. After this, he switched over to Bengali as a mode of his protest against imperial rule. Okay, but that doesn't mean that he was bad in English. No, he was excellent because he has already proved his mettle through Rajmohan's wife. Okay, so tomorrow it will be a more of storytelling class and analysis class and a little bit of biography you will read on Bankim Chandra.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I
And ma'am,
clear with you?
if you could allow me, I have
Yes.
few more questions. Like I would like to know about your perspective. Like if a question comes from that particular chapter, what do you expect in our answers? Like
Yes, I
how
have
we should
already
approach?
yes, I have already told while I was teaching, I have already said that mark these points. These points you have to add. Like yesterday, I was telling you that yesterday I took a long time explaining those four phases of Indian language system when English assimilated in India. The whole process I've explained. Please be very thorough with that because whenever you will write, whenever you will deal, or whenever you will teach Indian writing in English, you will have to point out on those four aspects that I told yesterday. I think you were present yesterday, so you have.
Sorry, ma'am. I was I joined bit late. I was there in some election duty. So
Okay. May I know
uh,
your
I,
name?
this is Devadarshi Panda, ma'am.
Okay. You were
I
busy.
suppose yes. I
Okay.
just got the message today, so I
Okay.
joined.
Okay.
Uh,
So see, those four phases, if you see, you will find in first few pages of your study material of Unit 1, Block 1
okay,
probably,
ma'am.
you'll find it.
Okay, ma'am.
And see, four phases actually broadly talks about how English came. First phase, when we did not know who these people are, okay, we found them completely aliens. And they are speaking in some different language, but they are trying to show off that they are very sophisticated. And we, being simple Indians, we got carried away by their style, okay, by their show of sophistication, and
Okay,
slowly,
ma'am.
slowly, they wanted us to understand. Second phase came when we, no, in first phase only our philosophers, our thinkers started to read their books in order to understand them. Second phase, it started spreading. Okay, language started spreading, and this was the time when Rajmohan's wife was written. Third phase, now we started rejecting the thing as a part of our revolt. Okay, fourth phase was post-colonial phase when again we started accepting and writing. Just go through in your first unit, you will find
Yes,
all
ma'am.
this broad detail. And if you other students, those who were present yesterday, if you have heard today, you would have seen that those were the roots on which we have based our teaching today. So whenever you are dealing with Indian writing in English, don't forget to point out those four things. That's what I want to tell you when you write your answers. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Second thing, the second thing, focus on Macaulay's minute. Okay.
Yes, 1830.
Third,
Post 1833.
yes, and also you can add that how from post-colonial perspective that part of education policy is bit biased. Although it started, it was good for us because we got some systematic education system, but also we should criticize it because it gives a lot of emphasis and bias on their culture, and it actually it put our culture aside. That is not right. But from Kothari Commission and what was the other commission, Radhakrishnan Commission. From those commissions, again, we put their culture aside and we brought our culture to the forefront. Okay, so this you must remember as a part of your
Sure, ma'am.
answer related to your assignments and assessments. Okay,
Sure, ma'am.
and then when we are from now onwards, tomorrow we'll be dealing with many novels and writings. So read those writers, their biographies, what they have written, and the specific novels or poems that we'll be dealing with. And that's all. And
Ma'am,
interpretation.
uh,
Good evening, ma'am. Mona Lisa here. Ma'am, you said that while writing about the phases of India, the introduction of English in India, the four
Hmm.
phases, we have to write about the writers, their novels also.
So
We
see,
have to describe.
if the question doesn't come, why should you write? But keep that as your foundation of English writing in India. Because as a teacher, when I teach, this is the first
Kokila, please stop your
this is my
audio.
paper of specialization. Okay. Somebody is talking. Please mute yourself. This is disturbing
Kokila,
for
please
others.
stop. Kokila, please stop your mic. Ma'am's voice is not audible because of you.
Okay. Yes, Mona Lisa, please continue what you were saying.
Ma'am, I was asking ki while describing the four phases of
Hmm.
introduction of English in India, we have
Hmm.
to write about the novelists, the writers, and about their work also.
Yes, yes, yes. A little bit of that. And then
Okay.
suppose a particular novel is coming, so go for the analysis of the novel. Okay.
Okay.
Because
Likewise, in the second phase, Rajmohan's wife was written by Bankim Chandra. We
listen,
have
listen,
to
I'm
throw
telling
some
you.
light on that also.
Yes, of course. Why?
Okay, ma'am.
Because when you write, you have certain influence of your background. Suppose you are writing, you are a woman, you will write from the perspective of woman. How you feel being a woman in this society. Okay. So we cannot leave the writer from his work. You understand? You have to mix it up. You have to churn it. That if Rajmohan's wife is written in this way, what does it show about the Indian society? What about it shows about the author's perspective, author's stand to that? Okay, that you have to write. This is what we call is analysis in English literature. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, then tomorrow we have a class again, as I was not able to know, or I missed those two classes. So tomorrow at 8 o'clock, sorry, at 6 o'clock sharp, we'll start our class. Learners, do join in time. And if you read it in advance, a bit of that, that will be very nice. We'll be able to follow it more. Or I can see that I assume most of you are working people, so you can join, and I'll be able to make you grasp things to the best of my capacity. So for today, I stop my class. I go offline. Meet you tomorrow.
Ma'am, before class
Thank you,
will
ma'am.
be held another day or not?
What?
Before class also
Yes.
cancelled. So it
If
will be held another day or not?
yes, I
Tomorrow
think
and day
third
after
or
tomorrow. Sir
third.
mentioned yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Tomorrow and
Okay,
day
ma'am.
after
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You may leave.
Dear friends, shall we make an WhatsApp group?
Yes, sir. Please, this is a nice suggestion. Please make a WhatsApp group so that we can have more purposeful conversation around the
Yes, yes, yes.
courses of study.
We can get
And
any
also, please
information
include
or
ma'am.
can give.
Yes, also please include
Okay,
ma'am.
so we need some number, no?
Yes.
Already so many WhatsApp groups are there.
Uh, it is there is an already an group, ma'am.
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe the admin may tell.
I am also not in that group.
Actually, if this group will be created, then it will be helpful for all of us. As ma'am
Hmm.
send us the different kind of notes
Monali,
and the questions related regarding to MEG-10, and it will be very much helpful to us.
Yes, yes.
I think Mona Lisa ma'am have the group link.
Group.
Uh, uh, it was shared on MEG mentor group, Chavi.
So we are not in that group, ma'am. So how can we join in
Can you
that?
add us, ma'am? If we provide our numbers or what? Any other?
So from where you come to know about this class? today?
Ma'am, actually, this is Devadarshi. I'm registered with Bhubaneswar Regional Center. I got a text about this class on my mobile, registered mobile number.
I too,
Before
ma'am.
that, I tried to join classes, but I could not.
of group so that they can join.
Okay, I will share the mentors group link. You can join there, and you can get all the information about the classes and the materials. Okay.
Actually, ma'am, they are saying to make the
Should we would you share it through through our registered mobile number through text or any other mechanism?
इन
Or
कॉल
you
मैसेज डाल दो ना, मतलब एमिजी मेंटर का ग्रुप का लिंक।
Arsi, you can share it now.
मुंडे से कर पा रही।
Okay,
Hello,
I am trying. I am trying. Okay.
hello, Mona Lisa ma'am.
Yeah.
ma'am, if you could provide your email or any other like email
Hello,
ID
ma'am.
so that
in
we can.
tomorrow's class we will share the link
हाँ,
in the
Uh,
class chat.
tomorrow we are having our classes, na, at 6.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I
You
think most of
Devadarshi
you.
and
Uh,
Haraprasad, you are having the code MEG 10 14 and
5, 7, 10, 14, ma'am. I have.
okay. Most of the people here they are having the same code.
लेकिन 5 के लिए ग्रुप तो बना हुआ है, उसी में 10 की डिस्कशन कर लो, बात खत्म हो गई।
No, no,
Ma'am,
no, no. I am asking कि, most of the people here they are having 5 7 10 and 14 or any other
Can
code.
you? They
Ma'am,
must
we,
be in the group of 5, MEG 5, because if they are having 5, MEG
Yeah.
5, then they must be in
Yes.
the group 5. All the informations are shared in the MEG 5.
Yes, want to discuss about anything
Yeah, MEG
regarding
5 that is the
hello, Mona Lisa
compulsory
ma'am.
paper. Yeah, yeah, in first
Yeah,
year. Yeah.
most
Huh.
of them are having in that.
Mona Lisa ma'am.
Yeah.
Madam, the group that created MEG 10 2024.
Uh, no,
Uh,
I have taken admission in June 23. So,
Ma'am, my question is the MEG mentors 10 question that created the total number of people are joined at 305 members. Are you there
yeah,
in the
yeah,
group?
yeah.
अगर
I am
if
also there.
anyone if anyone want to ask anything about MEG 10 they can ask it in the MEG 5 group.
ma'am, I have to inform that
MEG
I am
5
nowhere
group
in any
is a
of these groups.
compulsory subject where almost all the students have joined that group. So you may be getting all the information from there, even the filling of the form, registration,
Wait,
everything they are sharing in that group.
wait, I am having one link of MEG group. I am sharing it with
Yeah,
you.
you share in the Chabi. Please share in the this message box so that they can join that MEG 5.
Give me 5 minutes. I am sharing it.
Yes, Chabi, we don't have any information about MEG 5 classes. That's why we don't know anything about MEG 5 link or any group. We
Actually,
only
ma'am,
got the MEG 14 link. I think
but
it will start from 2nd of May.
no,
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 ma'am,
ma'am.
MEG 5 classes are already over.
Yes, ma'am. MEG
Okay.
5 classes are already
Yeah,
done.
It
that
was
day
the first
you
one. Hmm.
yes, yeah, Chavi, you shared the recording, na, that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So MEG 7 classes will also occur or only MEG 10 and 14 classes will
MEG
occur?
7 classes are also over. This is the, I think MEG 10 is going on. And in the month of this May, there will be MEG 14 will be there.
Okay.
Because the classes are commencing from January 24.
Yeah. So other MEG 1, MEG 2 already they have conducted. So each teacher gets some duration of time, like 2 weeks, except Sundays and Saturdays. Everything is shared in one list of these programs, I think.
Hello, Mona Lisa ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, I have seen your message. Yes. I am just sharing you the link, okay?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
if possible, you
I,
can share it to Debadarshi.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And me too, Haraprasad also said to me.
I am talking about Hara Prasad, who messaged me in WhatsApp, na Hara Prasad, or someone
yes,
else
ma'am.
has. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I have just sent you a message.
मुझे अभी लिंक मिल नहीं रहा है. I think I would send it to you tomorrow.
Hello, Devadarshi bhai. Are you there? Devadarshi bhai.
Yes, yes, I can hear you. It was my sound was off. So should I share my number or how you are going to share the link?
You can share me your number, and then I will provide you all types of information that Monas man gave me, or I will help you to add in those
How
groups.
to how
In
to share
tomorrow's
my
class,
number?
in tomorrow's class in the chat box, I will share you the WhatsApp.
Haraprasad,
Uh,
hello. Haraprasad, this is Hemanand Bariha.
uh,
So, can I dictate my number?
sure, brother. You can share me your number.
Okay. Please write. I'm going to dictate you.
Hello, Hara Prasad. You are here, na? You can listen
Yes,
me.
yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Yes.
yeah. You can log into MEGMENTORS.com, and there also you can get the link. Okay.
Ma'am, the groups that were created for 2023 to 2024, the MG mentors group.
Yeah. That one.
Ma'am, are you there in all those groups? MG 5,
Yeah.
7, 10, and
In
14.
5, 7, 10, and 14. Yes, I am there.
Ma'am, I have one question for Mona Lisa, madam. Ma'am, is there any mechanism for so the in which we can go through those lectures that are already over? Is there any recorded classes or
No,
any
no,
mechanism?
no. We don't
It
have
is only a
any.
live class.
Yeah, but Chabi Zain, she is from Delhi RC, and she is having some recording of the classes,
Okay.
so
Please
she
add us
can
to the
share.
group, to the relevant group, so that we can have access and can
I also have
have
not
that.
attended MEC 5 and 7. That's why I was asking to in here ki these classes were already over, or there will be some classes for 5 and 7.
Uh,
So Chabi
I
will
had
share the
please. I
recordings.
had got
Okay.
the schedule, but the during the time mentioned that they were not accepting the class. Like I could not join it. But I think today I was trying and I luckily they accepted
No. This
approved my
class
joining.
it started on I think day before yesterday, and it was open to all. It was open to all, so anyone can join. I think so.
That may be the reason, but in
Uh,
earlier schedule published, I was not able to join. I don't know why they did not approve my request
we
to
were
join.
not given the schedule also about 5 and 7. That's why we missed it. Okay.
छवि ने लिंक भेज दिया है जो रिकॉर्डेड क्लासेस थी उसका.
Thank you, Chabijan madam, for your cooperation.
You all are appearing the exam in 24 June, na? This June.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, Hemanand, you am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
If you can add to the group, also note down my number.
Actually, I am in outside.
So
So
just
I
someone was
will send,
dictating the another number.
I will send you the link tomorrow for the WhatsApp group. Don't share your number.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
I have already shared it to Haraprasad. I think he will share it to you, Debadarsi. Okay? He told
But
me
how?
ki
What is the mechanism? How it's going to share?
uh, uh,
Uh,
from the group, I think he took out my number and just WhatsApped me. And yeah,
Hemanand bhai, acha abhi Hara Prasad,
Okay, okay, yeah.
like, okay, I should speak in English because that may be communication
Okay.
open for all. Okay,
Hello.
see,
I,
you
I,
have
I'm,
taken the
I'm just giving you my number. You can send me just a hi. Then I can send you the link that
okay,
Monalisa
okay,
ma'am
okay,
told me.
fine, fine, fine.
You can type my number
Okay,
8917
yes,
2977
okay,
05.
okay, 8917297705. Okay,
Yes, actually it's my contact number and WhatsApp number. You can send just a hi. Then I can send you the link that Monalisa ma'am provided me,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
immediately you can join in those
Okay.
groups.
Thank you,
Please
thank you.
repeat your number, please.
8917
Okay.
2977
Yes.
05.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chavi.
Thank you, Chavi ma'am again.
Chabi ma'am, the link that you have sent, it's belong to MEG-10 or MEG-7?
You can go through the lectures and find out. I think Chavi ma'am is
One
not.
more thing, before you want to join the mentors group, you have to fill the form, and there you have to upload your identity card, I think, or
Sure, sure.
enrollment
And
number.
what is the website, ma'am? It is meant to MEG Mentors.
Yeah, .com.
MEGmentors.com.
They will ask for the enrollment number and ID card. You have to upload there, and after that, they will accept your candidature. Okay.
Okay. And it is being supervised by IGNO, like officially, or
No,
it is
no,
through
no,
the
no,
mentor.
no. A group of mentors, but they are
Okay,
very
okay.
helpful. They are providing so many materials, and they are guiding us from last one
Got
year.
it, got it,
Okay.
got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now I think the class is over.
Wait,
We
wait,
Sure,
wait.
finish.
sure.
Yeah? Okay. Bye,
Hello.
everyone.
I
And
am saying.
thank you again to Chabi Jain madam for providing the link.
Hello, hello, ଦେବଦର୍ଶୀ ଭାଇ।
I can hear you. କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
ହଁ ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଭାଇ ମୋତେ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ସଆପରେ ମୋତେ ହାଇ
ହଁ
ପଠେଇଦିଅ, ମୁଁ ତମକୁ ସବୁ
ଠିକ ଅଛି,
ଇନଫର୍ମେସନ
ଠିକ ଅଛି।
ସେଣ୍ଡ କରିଦେବି।
Okay, thank
ଠିକ
you.
ଅଛି।